Hi, Tammy. I'm putting together a video to assist you as you prepare for your day with Jarrell ISD. The morning session will be with the executives from IGO Elementary who are entering into the school improvement grant. The afternoon will be with Coaches Academy, and that's a separate prep video for you. But you'll see here that I have the facilitator agenda on the left side of the screen and the slide deck on the right. And my intent is just to kind of walk you through the overview of the training. This will be a 4-hour session with only 3 people from IGO Elementary. So it's just one team. You will start with the regular opening that we do where we launch and team. On the opening of the slide, there is a link to the team agenda and workspace. And what you're going to see when you look at this is that the team agenda and workspace is really exactly like yours, your facilitator agenda. It is missing the times, the amount of time that we're thinking that you would allot to each aspect of the training. But and then some of the links on yours are directly to a document where on the team agenda there might be a forced copy. But other than that, the agendas are the same. We'll also tell you that Julie Moynihan did the vast majority of the work on preparing this training. So she will also be a great resource for you if you have questions or if you want to think through stuff. She approached this from the perspective of a principal who has been in a similar situation, embarking on a school improvement grant and knowing some of the things that a school principal would benefit from. So you'll start off with regular launch and teaming. You'll see that you have the intro, the normal slides that we use, and there is a slide 7 with the communication cards. This is a great opportunity, even though there's only one team. It's a great opportunity to use the cards and let your participants know that this is something that can be an awesome tool for them to use on their own campus in professional development, in staff meetings where there might be some teamwork, or even to share with teachers who are using collaboration in their classroom. And then the training outcomes are listed on slide 8, and you can read them there. They're going to start with beliefs to behaviors. They're going to analyze the school improvement rubric. They're going to really look at their project goals and roles to support implementation of the school improvement rubric and everything else they're doing with their targeted improvement plan. And then they're going to create action plans to support the things that they're doing with this. All right. We'll also have just a brief ABC communication. Again, there's only 3 people. So Julie has put in here just a couple of questions. What excites you about this work and what are your expectations? What they say to you about their expectations is a great thing to record, maybe even on a piece of chart paper, or depending on how your room is set up, so that you can go back to those during the day and make sure that you're looking for opportunities to touch on those expectations. Then there are a couple of slides in here that take you through kind of the housekeeping of, getting to their workspace and understanding how it works. The workspace has the agenda on the first page with lots of links, and most of the links go to the actual running agenda. It's a long document. You're going to notice it's 25 pages long. So they have one long document with most of their workspaces. There's a couple of times that they go outside of this. So you can kind of let them know that they use this to navigate throughout. You can also show them, by the way. I'm just going to put this over here. If you want, sorry. You can demonstrate to them by opening up the agenda that they can open up this show document outline and they can see the various places that are in this long 25-page document. So if they feel uncomfortable scrolling through everything, they can actually skip to different aspects of these documents or of this document by using the outline over here on the side. Okay. And then you'll close this first 20-minute time frame with them going through teaming. Notice this is 20 minutes only. We're trying to get a lot in this 4-hour time period. So trying to keep them on task would be advantageous. The next section is beliefs to behaviors. And they do have a workspace where they will be looking at let me go to that and show you. They're going to talk about their most strongly held convictions, about teaching and learning. I'm not sure if you've done beliefs behaviors before, but individually, they come up with 1 to 3 personal beliefs about students or teaching or learning. Then, as a team, they create their team beliefs. Like they find out, where do we have commonalities? What can we all agree on, or things that we believe? And then finally, they take those belief statements and generate, if we believe this particular thing, then what that means about our behaviors is what we will do and what we will not do. I'm thinking that you have very likely done that as a coach. And so you can use your experience with that, with your own determining your own beliefs, behavior about coaching to help them as they go through navigating this as a campus. The next thing they'll do is they'll be looking at their school improvement rubric. One thing to know is that the school improvement rubric, we developed that based on the effective schools framework. So when you look at the school improvement rubric, it has language that comes almost directly from the effective schools framework, which is part of the requirement of the school improvement grant that they implement that process. So I'm seeing let me fix that. There's a misspelling there. So they're going to do what we normally do, where we look at the language of the school improvement rubric, and within their workspaces, they will be answering some guiding questions. So they'll identify how the growth indicators develop across the strand. They will identify how the growth indicators develop across the second strand. And then there are 3 questions here that go beyond that analysis of the GIs. And it's, what about this language stands out to you? What has ambiguity that you want to talk about? And how will this implementation support a culture of continuous improvement as on the campus as they implement the school improvement grant? They have this campus has on their targeted improvement plan, they have gone with levers 1 and 3. So you're not seeing the entire school improvement rubric. You're only seeing the competencies and the strands from levers 1 and 3. However, that is 6 different competencies because there are 2 at lever 1 and 4 at lever 3. So that's why you're going to notice on the agenda that there is a full 50 minutes allotted to this. All right. So they have access to the rubric itself as a hard copy on the side if they want to have that. And then they have their workspace that's here in the agenda. All right. You can kind of talk to them as they go through this, kind of help them really look at those levers and think about how this is going to impact their work this year. The next thing they'll go through is a activity that will help them think about the connections across the various competencies that are being coached on their campus. Now, this is where it's good for you to know that the executives will have 5 coaching sessions, and they'll be coached on the school improvement rubric. Also on their campus, there is one instructional coach who will be going through Coaches Academy, so she will have the coach rubric. And there will be 5 teachers as part of Coaches Academy that will be coached on the best practices rubric. So we want those principals to understand that what they're doing is not in isolation. We want them to develop that mindset of looking for connections across what's happening with all the coaching on their campus, to think about how they can not see this as like additional, like so many things on their plate, but instead finding the connections so it's one thing. This was something that Julie, again, brought to the table from her experience on having been a principal in this situation, of recognizing the need to really see how all of these aspects fit together instead of everything being separate. So at this point, you're going to do a very high level overview of the coach. The instructional coach is going to go through their rubric, which has these different competencies, and the teachers will be coached. They'll have 6 sessions, and the best practices that they have chosen as a for the campus are the 6 that are listed here. So they'll have their 6 coaching sessions. We did include in here the actual language of the best practice rubric. And once again, this decision was made to help the principals. Again, this is probably just kind of a straightforward discussion where you are kind of doing some direct instruction with the principals, just letting them know of that high level overview. That assessment and formative feedback has some specific growth indicators that move beyond what we sometimes think about with maybe just formative assessment or just summative assessment. And that this talks about pre-assessment. It has language to talk about continuous feedback with students. When we talk about differentiation and scaffolding, it is beyond just what we do to modify for special ed students or to enrich for um, GT students. When we talk about small group instruction, that is teacher-led small group instruction, and standards alignment includes the Burke rubric. It's not just kind of the traditional, oh, are we teaching to the TEKS? All right. So you just want to give them a high level overview of that, and then ask them to engage in this activity where they have a Jamboard. Let me open up the Jamboard and show you. The idea here is for them to just start thinking about developing that habit of mind where they're always looking for connections. And so each page of the Jamboard contains some growth indicators from the school improvement rubric, which are in blue font, as well as GIs from other rubrics that are being used. And so they're going to work together to look for those connections in the Jamboard, and really encourage them to discuss how their leadership actions through the school improvement rubric GIs will connect to the actions of their school improvement grant, their targeted improvement plan, and how they're supporting their staff as the staff that's being coached. So, like the second frame in the Jamboard is connecting E2L best practices to the school improvement rubric. And the second one is the coach rubric to the school improvement rubric. And then finally, they have a place to reflect and record their thinking on that. I think of how do we intentionally make these connections and support our staff as they work through. You'll notice once again that this is really only 25 minutes. So it's just getting them to be thinking about How do we intentionally make those connections and not see these things as separate activities? Next, they will go to role and goal clarity. And this is where uh, Julie decided that this was a great place to put in information about just kind of changing the culture on a campus and what the work of E2L is going to do to support these administrators as they implement the school improvement rubric and the school improvement grant. And so I'm sure you've seen this slide before about, changing culture on a campus and the impact of coaching support, what that can do to change classroom practice and to impact teacher retention. So once again, this is kind of high level overview of you're getting into coaching. This is what this is about. Coaching through the eGrow model is collaborative. It's not like so many other models, more evaluative or more administrator directed. It's very collaborative and reflective on the part of the teacher. You give them just a quick overview of eGrow is this cyclical process that is an evidence-based collaborative process. And just so they have an idea of, okay, this is what we're about to do. And with that in mind, with our coach getting this, with us getting this, and those 5 teachers, that is information that can impact how they approach the next activity, which is roll and go clarity. So roll and go clarity is all about thinking about if we are going, they start by self-reflecting and thinking about like where are we? If we are trying to support a culture of collaboration and continuous growth as we implement the school improvement grant, and we're going to be receiving coaching as well as other people on our campus, then here are some guiding questions. So first of all, what's my why for doing this? Like what's my why for supporting this? What's my role in supporting this? And then they go into a gap analysis. What am I currently doing? I need to do more of. What do I need to do less of? What might I need to add to get to this? And what might I need to eliminate? So each person does that individually. And then after the 3 people have done their own reflection, then they come together as a team and you'll want to ask them to think about what are our common ideas? Where do we see that we have maybe some things that we want to really focus on to do more of, to do less of, to eliminate. Um, okay, then that is going to take them into their action plans. Hopefully, everything that's happened so far leads them up to having a really good frame of mind to look at 3 different types of action plans that will be very important as they implement the school improvement grant. You can see that they're going to look at a professional learning plan, communications, and recognition. There are 3 people there. These are 3 very important systems. And so our thought was to let them divide and conquer at this point. They will, you can ask them to identify which person wants to draft each of those plans. They have in the agenda 60 minutes to work on these. So what you're going to notice is when they start working on the plans, that each person will take one. I would recommend that they take 30 minutes to draft the plan. And then they're going to come together and share out their draft using an ABC protocol. We normally use AB, but Julie modified this for 3 people. So each person kind of presents out and they'll need to do that. And, like maybe 5 minutes each, like they present out their plan, they get feedback from their other 2 administrators, and then they have just a few minutes at the end to make some adjustments iterate those plans based on the feedback. Of course, if these can be living documents that they can take back to their campus, but hopefully this time will give them the opportunity to have at least a really good draft of the plan that they'll need. And the ABC CRIT protocol is listed there in their workspace. Finally, we are at the elevator speech. This will be the end of their 4-hour period. An elevator speech. I think maybe you have led this before. It's a great little opportunity for them to come up with like a 30-second pitch for their why for supporting a culture of collaboration and continuous growth as they implement the school improvement grant. There's been a lot going on during this session to help them prepare for this. And so in their workspace, they have a place for them to identify, like maybe who's the target of their speech. And you can encourage them to choose different people as their target. Like maybe one person is going to choose teachers, maybe one parents, maybe one board members or community members. And there are some guiding questions. And then they can talk to each other about like what are some important words to include. And then each person develops their speech and they can share out. This is such a great way to bring closure to the day. And hopefully everybody ends on a very positive note. It's also a great way for you to be able to see the effectiveness of the training. Then at the end, they're going to complete the feedback form, which will be added in here um, uh, before you get your final copy. And that's it. So I hope this has been a good overview. I'll look forward to seeing you at the prep call. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or to Julie. As I said, she did the vast majority of the work on this. And we will look forward to the significant impact you're going to make on those people in Jarrell. Thank you.